Welcome back, travelers, to Legendary Lore, also known as Legendary Lore. I am Ricky, and this is my Callist co-host.
Co-host.
Joe.
May I take your hat, sir?
Take your hat, yeah. So, we're going to be talking about the book Agent Artifice, which is basically like, I guess, where you originally got story about Jace. This is where the whole thing about Jace blackmailing people came from, and how Jace kind of starts connecting with other planeswalkers. Because at this point, he's just on Ravnica. He hasn't had to leave at all. Make sense?
Yeah.
Well, basically what happens is that these creatures show up, and they start attacking him, and he's like, oh, snap! And then he kills the creatures, he gets rid of them, he gets away, he runs away, and all that stuff. And he starts to figure out that it's actually a test, it's a puzzle, and it's Jace. So he's like, I have to figure out this puzzle. And so he figures out the puzzle, and Joe, you get 3 guesses, quick guesses. Which planeswalker made this puzzle for him?
Tezzeret.
Got him on the first try. Do you remember this story at all? I know I've told it to you in the past.
I was just going off the word Artifice.
That was. He's a good lad. He's a very good lad. The point is, Tezzeret is the head of the Infinite Consortium. The Infinite Consortium is basically, like, as you could say, they were the original Gatewatch. Although they weren't as altruistic. They were more like Jabba's palace. They were like a smuggler's ring kind of thing. And they could send goods between planes and stuff like that, trade information, and have assassins, all that fun stuff. Tezzeret was the head of it. And can you guess who he took the Infinite Consortium from?
Nicol Bolas.
That is correct. He took the consortium from Nicol Bolas.
He took the boots because he doesn't wear shoes.
He took his bolas. So here's the thing. Jace joins Tezzeret. He's working for Tezzeret now, and Tezzeret's like at the top of his game. He's got his shiny metal arm and him and all that stuff, right? But Jace is then paired up with someone, because Jace is magic-based, he's mind-based. They need to balance him out with his partner. His partner in crime, literally, is a guy named Callist, which is what I refer to as my Callist co-host. Callist, or Callist, I don't know how to pronounce his name exactly. I'm going to say Callist. His full name was Callist Roca. He looked a ton like Jace. I like to think that he looks like Jace Memory Adept, because Jace Memory Adept looks almost nothing like Jace, other than the fact that he looks like Jace. You know what I'm talking about? Which one I'm talking about?
Yes, I didn't quite understand the statement, but I know which planeswalker you're referring to.
Because
I know which card you're referring to. We're talking about planeswalker the whole time.
Yeah. Callist looks like Jace. And so the two of them have to like kind of work together, and all that stuff is happening, right? So Jace is starting to like realize how, like, I guess you can see how evil the things he's doing are. He's hurting people, and he's causing things to go, like, he's causing people to fall to harm simply for profit, which he was blackmailing people. He wasn't exactly a good guy, but what he was doing for the consortium was pretty bad.
He finally reached like a moral line, just like, okay, this is too bad.
And what's funny is that it was more about the fact that he didn't feel guilt about it was what made him feel guilty, if that makes sense. Like, he keeps doing the bad things, and he realizes he feels nothing about it. He doesn't make him upset, which makes him upset.
I'm terrible.
Yeah.
Alhammer removed my conscience.
So there, I don't remember basically the exact details. Jace goes to a Nezumi village in Kamigawa. Kamigawa has these rat people called the Nezumi. They're basically it's a race of master splinters. And so he shows up, he goes there, and things go horribly awry. And the entire village is massacred. Just like full-on exterminator, everything's bad. Right? Well, there's a thing called the Mana Blade. Okay? The Mana Blade is a special weapon that kind of like it severs your skin, but also cuts into your soul, kind of thing, into the ether of your body, and it's extremely painful. So when he fails, Tezzeret's like, come to my office. Because you're in for a paddling with this with the mana blade, and so Tezzeret basically tortures Jace and just starts like carving him up, and there's scratches all over his body, like his back and stuff like that, and like it's a reminder to Jace to not mess up again. So Tezzeret's not happy with Jace, but that mana blade thing should have like straightened him out. Basically, that was what he was hoping at least. And so Tezzeret's like, okay, you're my best mind mage. You got all the magical mind of voodoo that I could ever want. So what I need you to do is make sure that when I go to this particular meeting, that you don't let the other guy into my mind. Do you understand me? Joe, do not let that person into my mind. That is the one thing you need to not do. You get me?
Okay.
So basically what happens is Tezzeret and Jace, they planeswalk, because obviously Tezzeret is a planeswalker. They planeswalk over to this snow plane. There's no name for the plane. I like to think that it was Kaldheim, because Kaldheim has snow on it. And it's just a nice little idea that they went to Kaldheim. Not necessarily true at all. Point is...
Jace has already been here.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm... headcanon. The point is, when they get there, the person that Tezzeret is coming to meet is Nicol Bolas himself.
Ah, fun. Jace isn't going to outmind Mage Nicol Bolas.
That's the thing. Is like, Tezzeret's like, you need to make sure this guy's not in my head. Do you understand me? And Jace is like, oh, yeah, sure, I'm an amazing mind mage. I can do anything. And Nicol Bolas is like, I have horns. And an egg. So, basically... Jace gets there, Tezzeret and Nicol Bolas, they're arguing about a mining dispute on some other plane and how one of them deserves to have that area and all this other stuff. While this is happening, Nicol Bolas has a conversation with Jace in his mind. Like, he's like, hey, punk, you seem like a really talented mind mage. What's your deal? And Jace is like, hey, I'm supposed to be making sure you don't get in my brain. And he's like, look, I can tell you,
I go where I want.
I'm gonna do what I feel like doing. And so, like, he starts like, Bolas is looking for a weak spot. He finds one very easily, punctures Jace's brain. Then once that's happened, he begins to attack Tezzeret. What?
It's like he punctures Jace's brain. Is that gonna hurt?
And so, they have to run away, obviously. Tezzeret and Jace, they try to get out of there. And Jace gets frostbite. This right here is the reason Jace only has 9 toes.
I didn't know that was a fact.
Jace has 9 toes. Jace has scars across his back, tattoos from Gruul, and he has 9 toes. And then he gets tortured again by Tezzeret for failing, because Tezzeret, for some reason, thought that he was like, you know, this is going to work out. You're a mind mage. You can handle this. He couldn't handle it at all. So, Tezzeret...
Yeah, we see in the future he couldn't handle it either.
It's true. So basically what happens is that Jace is like, you know what? I can't deal with this anymore. Callist, run away with me. Together, you and I, we can escape the Consortium. And we'll just lie low, and everybody will be none the wiser. And Callist is like, yeah, that's a good idea. Let's do it. I don't want to be here anyways. And so they go, and guess who they meet,
Like, I'm
Joe?
just here because I look like you.
Guess who they meet? You have 2 choices. Two guesses. Quick ones. Go.
Johnny.
No.
Liliana.
Yeah! They meet Liliana, and she flirts ceaselessly, savagely, provocatively with both of them. And they look the same. They're probably just her type. The point is, eventually, Liliana turns out that she is working for the Consortium. And so she sends assassins after them. And what winds up happening is that Jace wants to save Callist, right? Mm-hmm. And what he does is he tries to absorb Callist's mind into his body so that he can planeswalk away, and the two can be safe together, right?
That's not too well thought out, but
I mean, he's not a very smart guy. Still, I mean,
Are you
he's
sure?
He's like 20. He's gonna make mistakes. Probably not even 20 at this point. But the point is, Jace don't. Jace real
Jace
dumb.
is very young in the first card form we get him.
Yes. So what happens is that Jace accidentally puts some of his mind into Callist, and some of Callist's mind goes into Jace. So they look similar, and Callist actually walks around as Jace. Like, Jace thinks he's Jace, but he's in Callist's body. It's kind of confusing the way that it's worded, and what winds up happening is that 6 months go by, and Callist dies. Callist being the person that was... Callist being the one with Jace's mind inside of it. And the person who thought they were Callist, which was the real Jace, the consciousness of the now dead body Callist, the Jace consciousness, rushes back in, and that Callist realizes they're Jace. There was some other stuff that happened, but this is just like the general idea of that story.
Is the rest of that as unnecessary as all this was?
I mean, it kind of explains like one other weird... Because Jace has to make a lot of mistakes before he begins to realize what his limits are.
Jace is not a sane man, is he?
But what I mean by that, like, it's not just Jace's limits as in power, but more Jace's limits as in morality. It's only as far as he feels he should go with his powers. Because if he wanted to, he could transplant his mind to anybody and take control of them. And this is kind of the reason he doesn't do that.
Because he would lose himself for a bit until that person dies.
Yeah, and he's also robbing that other person of their life. So, all that happens, Jace is still on like being hunted, and he goes to Nicol Bolas for help. And so Jace goes, and he's gonna go fight, and he's like, okay, Liliana, help me, because he doesn't know Liliana betrayed him. And he goes, Liliana, help me, we're gonna take down Tezzeret, it's gonna be awesome. And so they go, and then Liliana's like, hey Tez, Jace is coming after you. And she's like, but I love you. And she goes, you're dumb. And he's like, I know. And so then Tezzeret shows up, and he uses artifact, and he starts controlling Jace's mind. And
Mind Slaver.
He's not actually, but basically. And while that's happening, there's this pyromancer named Baltris who never got a card. In my mind, I think of her looking kind of like the Jaya in her youth, that kind of look. But she basically is the one torturing Jace now. Like, she's allowed to torture Jace. And so that's all happening. And then Liliana, because she actually did care for Jace, she's really like upset about everything that's happening. And then she helps Jace escape the prison.
Like, oh no, how'd you get hurt? Oh, yeah.
And so what winds up happening is that Jace and Tezzeret wind up in this duel. Liliana's fighting Baltris. Everything's going all crazy. It's getting like just all over the place. And Jace is dueling Tezzeret. They wind up on Kamigawa, where those Nezumi had died. And he actually defeats Tezzeret. He wipes away Tezzeret's mind. He just destroys it. He just annihilates it. And I think the Nezumi rip off his arm, the metallic one. And so then he goes and he finds Liliana, and the two of them, Jace takes over the Infinite Consortium. And that's how that particular story ends. It's with Jace at the top of the Infinite Consortium, Tezzeret dunked on, basically just setting up his whole arc with Bolas, taking him in. That could be its whole other thing, me talking about Tezzeret's storyline.
Let us know.
And Liliana's romance with Jace being the starting point of this. And like I said, his how far he's willing to go. Because before, he would just enter anybody's mind willy-nilly, take what information he felt like, and use it against them. He could control anybody he wanted. He could do all these things. He also experienced what it's like to have your mind shattered by Nicol Bolas and be aware of it. So this is all a lot about Jace experiencing things, but still not knowing how to handle who it is to be him, basically. And that was the entire novel, Agents of Artifice.
The abridged version.
Yeah, I was going to say, give or take a few pages.
The League of Legends version.
Yeah, the Lord of Legends, legendary lore.
Lord
I hate you,
of
Joe.
legendary lore of legends.
I am the Lord. Lord.
It's like they call me Lord.
Jace,
Pretty.
not Jace. Joe, play us out.
Well, thank you guys so much for tuning in. We're going to go ahead and catch you guys next time with some more legendary lore. Go ahead and subscribe to catch the rest of this if you want to find out the rest of Jace's story. Leave a like if you liked the video, and let us know what else you'd like to see in the comments. Bye, guys.
But I love you.